What is up, my party people? How are you? Welcome to this live stream of Uranus in Gemini. This was a live stream that was supposed to go off a while ago when this transit originally happened. And it has taken me a hot minute. Ooh, wait, lower my volume here, y'all. Because now I'm hearing myself. All right, to get on here and actually have this conversation. So let's talk about why this transit is so significant. And I really want to preface this conversation by saying if you're currently having an experience of reality where you are bumping up against the edges of who you are, meaning a lot of the things that you have been doing, have been acclimated to doing or being, no longer feel like they fit, or you are suddenly starting to have realizations that you want to change the way you're showing up in the world, you want to change the way that you are presenting in the world, you are no longer happy with the things that you have created, you have new desires, new dreams. And because I work with entrepreneurs, because I work with creatives and visionaries and people who are constantly reinventing themselves and have a brand that they represent and back, this conversation is going to feel very timely for you. I have had so many client conversations in the past week and a half that have been really an indication of this energy. So I felt like now was a time to come and have this conversation. One of the things I want you to understand about the era that we are entering is that we are here for 7 years. For the next 7 years, Uranus is in the placement that it's in. So depending on your astrological chart and where this is impacting you, that area of your life is going to be front and center, being affected by this Uranian energy. And the thing about Uranus is that this is a planet of revolution, of rebellion. And whether you're looking at it through the astrological lens or the human design lens, I am a human design consultant. So I look at Uranus as this planet of what makes someone edgy and different, what carries the signature of uniqueness. And as someone who lives with this Uranus conjunct my sun, this is very much on brand for just my personality in general of being a rebel by nature. And right now, this Uranian activation is creating a rebellion in you in some specific area of your life. And so you're probably feeling a deep unrest. You're probably feeling like, I want to change. What I have been doing isn't working for me anymore. I feel out of place in what I'm doing. I want to be doing something different. I feel boxed in. The way that I have been showing up is not necessarily the way that I want to show up. All of these things might be happening right now for you. And that is because of this big energetic switch that we are in. Now, of course, depending on your chart and depending on the other transits that are happening at the same time that this is happening, you are going to have a different experience or a more activated experience of this transit. But I want to speak to the wound of change that I'm seeing a lot in the conversations that I'm having, the wound of feeling like you're living behind a mask and the mask is not fitting anymore. It's not working for you anymore. This has been huge in so many of the coaching sessions that I've had where people feel like they have been operating from a mask sense and all of a sudden the mask just doesn't fit. Now, if you are autistic or if you have ADHD, if you're a neurodivergent in any way, then you are very familiar with this concept of living with a mask. And for those of us that have had to learn how to not live with a mask and to accept ourselves outside of the mask, this is a very familiar conversation. But if this is the first time you are realizing that you've been approaching your work or approaching your world through a mask, and it's the first time you're realizing the deep discontent that comes from living behind a mask, then this conversation is going to be really significant for you. For the next 7 or so years of reality, there will be no opportunity to live behind that mask in this particular area of your life where this activation is happening. There is going to be a reckoning within you, a coming to Jesus moment about your true self versus the self that you have been performing. And it's going to hit everybody real different. For some of you, it's going to hit in your career house, your career life. You're going to be like, oh my God, this career that I've built, it just doesn't fit my life anymore. It doesn't fit who I want to be, or the way that I've been showing up in my career doesn't work anymore. For some of you, it's going to be your relationships, and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, these relationships that I've been giving my time and energy to are not it, or the way I've been living in this relationship is not it. For some of you, it's going to be your health. For some of you, it's going to be your money. This is energy is going to show up in all these places. And you're going to have to come to terms with the way that you have been living your life and the way that you no longer feel like you can. And this moment is an invitation for you to initiate into a higher level of whatever you've been doing. This doesn't mean you need to burn everything to the ground. This doesn't mean that you have to run. This doesn't mean that you have to change everything about yourself. It means accepting the reckoning and allowing yourself to be initiated to the version of you that wants to be seen, which is really your true self. The true self wants to be seen. The true self wants to be acknowledged. The true self wants to be activated, right? A lot of people, when this kind of an energy quells up in their life, and for the record, I feel like if you're the ages of like 40 to 45, this is a very hot Uranus opposition season. I get a lot of clients walking into my life either during the Saturn return season, 29, 28, 30-ish, or 45-ish, because Saturn return and Uranus opposition are two heavy hitters in terms of like astrological cycles in the formation of your identity. During the Saturn return, you are really figuring out who you are and who you want to be in the world. During your Uranus opposition, you're dropping the masks and you're like rebelling against the aspects of your life that do not fit. Okay. Right now, it's like everybody's having a massive Uranus opposition together. We're all doing it at the same time. And if you're of the age where Uranus opposition is set to go off in your life, then you're like double whammy in this energy, I feel. And this is not an energy to be feared. This is an energy to be initiated into. This is the energy of acceptance, of surrender, of like letting go of the pretend. You don't have to pretend to be something that you're not. You don't have to pretend to love something that you don't. You don't have to pretend to go along with something because your industry is doing XYZ thing. But I had a dime for every time I get hired by a client. And one of the very first conversations I have with this client is, I want to be successful in my work in this industry, but I don't want to do it like everybody else does. I would be a billionaire. I have this tendency of collecting all of the rebels on the planet, and it is my joy to do that, and my joy to serve them. Because the truth is, you don't have to do anything the way that anybody else is doing it. You don't have to sound like anybody else, and you don't have to play into any of the rules. And you can be successful and grow your brand and grow your work any way that resonates with your spirit and resonates with your path. There is no one way to do anything. And for me, the thing that I love about Uranian energy, the thing that I love about this activation is that it is literally inviting us to surrender our preconceived notions. It's inviting us to surrender the way we thought we had to be, the way we thought we had to live, the way we thought we had to exist in the world, so that we can truly become who we were always meant to be. And the thing about being who you are is that you're always evolving. There's never just one version of you. There's the version of you that's here and then the version of you that's there. Like if you think about your life, how many versions of you have you lived the whole time you've been alive? So many different versions of you. Does that mean that the version of you that existed when you were 15 isn't really you, and that only the version of you now is you? No. The version of you at 15, the version of you at 21, the version of you at 35, all those versions of you are also you. They are still true. They're just evolutions of your being, right? And so as you are in this transit, and as everybody's kind of like bumping up against their edges and being like, oh my God, my life, like, is this, am I living a lie? Like, what do I do? I'm not happy with this. I'm not happy with that. It's like, oh, you're evolving. The invitation is for you to just see it as like, oh, I'm evolving. There's a new edge for me. There's a new adventure for me. There's a new thing for me. There's no need to drop into like panic and burning things down and, closing doors on all these, like, that's not what's being asked of you right now. What's being asked of you right now is like, where are you hiding? Like, where are you not being you? What parts of the work you're bringing into the world feel heavy because you're pretending, because you're performing, because you're imagining in order for you to be successful, you have to look a certain way or sound a certain way or be a certain person. Drop that shit. Like, just drop it like it's hot. We don't need that here. And furthermore, you're not going to be allowed to carry it with you. So right now, take the time to really look at the parts of your life, the parts of your business, the parts of your brand, the parts of your creative expression, the parts of you that are showing up online or not showing up online, and ask yourself, what feels heavy right now? What feels like performative? What feels like I don't want to do that anymore? I don't want to say that anymore. And just drop it. Allow it to evolve out of your reality. Allow yourself to elevate to a new expression of self. Allow the evolution of yourself. Allow your growth, right? There's no shame in that. There's no shame in growing. There's no shame in changing. There's no shame in becoming someone else. There's no shame in saying that thing that I was doing or saying 6 months ago, I don't actually want to do that anymore. I want to do this now. Go on and do it, right? Allow this energy to transform your reality. Surrender to the flow of evolution. This is how you become better and better. This is how you become who you were meant to always be. Right now, the biggest issue I'm watching is resistance. There's so much resistance and so much shame and like fear. Like, well, I can't say that, or I can't show up that way because what will people think? Or I'm embarrassed that I feel this way instead of this way, or that I've been doing this. It's like, just drop that. Drop the hesitation around becoming. Make becoming cool again. Like, make evolving cool again. Make it okay. Like, who the fuck cares that 6 months ago you were this or that 1 year ago you were that? No one fucking cares. Be who you are. Allow yourself to evolve. Discover new things. Push on your edges. Try on new ways of being. Let go of shit that you don't want to do anymore. The end. End of story. Spoken like a true third line over here. Like, just play, experiment, dare, right? Dare. So much of the scene right now is like performative stuff is falling by the wayside. It's not even performing well on the internet. Nobody fucking wants to see perfect this and perfect that and pretend this. Like, no one. There's it, it's funny. I feel like the thing that people are most attracted to always online are like tragedy stories. Like, why are people obsessed with things like true crime and tragedy? It's like because it's imperfect. These are imperfect things. These are like things that happen that are like wild, but it's reality. It's imperfect versions of reality. We are so drawn to the things that are real, even if they're dark, even if they're heavy, because we want the real. Especially right now in the age of AI where everything can be like perfected and smoothed over and made to look a certain way. Like, just be you. That's like, if there's one piece of brand and business advice I can give you right now, stop trying to be something you're not. The transits are not going to support it anyway. You're going to be miserable trying to maintain it and upkeep it. Show up as you, follow the energy threads, follow your own evolution. Trust that your sovereign self understands the assignment and that you're not going to fail yourself because you didn't come here to fail. You didn't incarnate to fail. You incarnated to discover yourself at newer and newer levels. You incarnated to become more. Trust the assignment and trust that you remember that assignment even if you're not fully conscious of that. Okay? All right. So this is my message for you during this transit time. I hope that it supports you and it gives you like a new perspective on what's happening in your world. Feel free to comment below and tell me like what's going on right now. What are you discovering about yourself? What are you letting go of? What are you like deciding is no longer working in your world? Let's have that conversation together. Let's like crush the shame around changing. Let's crush the shame or the fear around evolving. And let's just allow ourselves and support each other in being who we are and growing as we are. Yes? Yes. Amazing. I love you guys, and I am so glad that you're here, and I'm so glad that I get to share reality with you, even though it's crazy, even though it's wild, that we are at least connected across time and space, and we get to have moments like these with each other.